So I wrote this thing called the Not So Berry Challenge, which is basically a 10 generation legacy challenge, and each generation is themed after a different color. My cat is trying to hit the plant. Okay, well, the first generation is mint. All your Sims traits are green. You've got like a set of rules and things basically for each generation to complete. I can link the rules to that challenge down below. I wrote it like 5 years ago, but it's a pretty fun one. And I've been playing it recently on my Twitch channel. So I'm currently on Gen 3, which is the yellow generation. And in that yellow generation, your Sim's supposed to be an astronaut. They're supposed to be kind of nerdy. They're clumsy. And of course, for this generation, I'm gonna need a new house. Oh my God, the cat is really the star of the show right now. And so today I want to take you along with me to build that Gen 3 Not So Berry house. I won't lie, I went a little bit outside of the box with this one. I guess you could say maybe inside of the box, because there's a courtyard in the middle of this box where I put my rocket ship. The entire inspiration for this build was that I wanted to make a more mid-century modern house, but I wanted to have the rocket ship be in the middle of a courtyard in the middle of the house. Obviously for this generation, because my Sim's an astronaut, the rocket ship is like kind of a main feature of their life, and so I wanted it to be like a main feature of the house too. Every time in the past that I've had a rocket in my Sims builds, I feel like it's just kind of an afterthought, like, oh, just stick it in the backyard, you know, find a spot for it. But with this one, I really wanted it to be like a main thing, because it is kind of like the main goal of the entire generation. The whole thing is that my Sim's like obsessed with space. They want to master the rocket science skill. They want to visit space. They want to be in the astronaut career. For some reason, they want to have a rocket ship in the middle of their house. I personally love this. I think it's so cool, and it's like my favorite part of the whole build. But I will say, I built this on stream, like when I was live on Twitch. And of course, when you're doing something like that, people come in without context and they're like, why is there a hole in the middle of your build? Like, what is that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, that's just my rocket ship. Oh, that's just the hole for my rocket ship. I will say, in my defense, I've done a lot weirder. Like, the previous house that this family lived in for like Gen 2, kind of going into Gen 3, was like an apartment building that I had made in San Myshuno. So not just like an apartment, I built like an entire apartment building, then we lived in one apartment in the whole building, and I just had the rocket ship like on the rooftop, which maybe isn't so realistic to just have a rocket launching off of your roof of your average everyday apartment building, but I did that. Also, in this family, I have a rather large collection of graves. That's not part of the challenge, but that is part of what I've been doing, because I've been playing in this save for 13 generations now, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I have been. And in the beginning, I was playing a bit chaotically. I'm still playing chaotically, but it's not on short lifespan anymore, so it doesn't feel as chaotic. But when I first started, it was really something else. It all began one fated day when I was just talking to my Twitch chat. I was explaining how there's this item, this like pond that came with Get Famous, and how that pond from Get Famous can actually kill your Sims. And I was kind of joking like, yeah, supposedly it can kill you, but I've never seen it. And like explaining how I've literally tried to kill a Sim in the pond and it never worked. I just had never had a Sim die in this pond before, but they keep saying you can die in it. And so naturally, I got the pond out to be like, hey, look, here's the pond that apparently can kill you. I had my Sim jump into it one time, and the first time I jumped, my Sim died. And that was the legacy founder, like the main Sim, the heir. If you know about legacy challenges, basically you usually start off with one Sim and like a big empty lot and like 1,800 simoleons, and you kind of try and go from like the very beginning and then play through 10 generations until you've got like a big mansion, essentially. So like the founder of your legacy is kind of important, and of course I killed her like right away. She already had kids. I think she had like 3 or 4 kids that she left just behind because she was drowning in a pond. It was actually quite sad because I was all excited to play with the lawyer career with her and stuff, and then I didn't get to because she died. But that was just the beginning, okay? Because then, you know, cut forward like maybe a week, and I'm playing with now her son, who's grown up and is the new heir of the family. He's married, he's got 4 kids with his husband, and 3 of them are toddlers at this point. And I'm explaining again on stream how funny it was that I was just talking about this pond and how I've never had a Sim die in the pond, and then I said that, and then all of a sudden my Sim died in the pond. Kind of like, oh wow, what a hilarious coincidence. What a weird turn of events. That would never happen again. Watch, I'll show you. I place the pond again. I have my Sim jump into the pond one time. What happens? He dies. He dies in the pond the first time I clicked it. So at this point, I've got 2 dead Sims, 3 toddlers, and this poor Sim that I have to raise these kids with alone. And that was sort of where the chaos began, because after those 2 tragic deaths, I sort of just embraced it. I was like, yeah, give me more. I started like collecting graves. I'd go to the bar if like some random Sim died of old age at the bar, I'd bring their grave home with me. Anytime someone wronged me, I'd send them to the pond. I just, at this point, literally at Gen 13 of this challenge, I've got like 90 graves or something that I just keep in my front yard. For most of this family, I was playing on the same 30 by 20 lot for the first like 10 generations. And so as I was playing, I kept getting like more and more and more and more graves, obviously. And I was like filling up the entire front yard to the point, oh, okay, hello, to the point where there was like no space left. So I had to move. Just to have more space for my graves, of course. I don't have any videos or anything on these Sims, like no actual gameplay videos, but I did make a video kind of breaking down all 10 generations, so I can link that down below for you. For the most part, I just use these Sims on Twitch. But if you like the idea of a sort of chaotic legacy challenge, I do have a YouTube series, like a Let's Play that I do that's just like that, and it's got 80 episodes, but we just started a new generation, so it's kind of a good time to tune in. In this sort of thing, each generation is kind of like its own mini series, because like at a certain point, you know, all the old Sims are dead. Like it doesn't really matter what they got up to because they're long gone and they're in my front yard. So if you want to watch either of those, I'll link them down below, but also I'll have my Twitch channel linked. I do stream every day on Twitch. I'm just saying. Okay, my cat is now clawing on her cat tree. She really is being chaotic right now. All right, back to the house for a second though, because I've just sat here explaining my graves for the entire video. This one's obviously for the yellow gen of Not So Berry, hence why literally everything in this house is like super yellow. That's kind of the fun part of a sort of silly challenge like this, is that you can really embrace color schemes that you wouldn't normally use. I love yellow. It's like probably my favorite color, second favorite color. I don't know. I like yellow a lot, but I don't normally build a house where like literally everything is yellow, so it's kind of fun to experiment with. I was trying to use new tile. I was going through like every rug in the game, trying to find ones that matched. It really is a sort of unique challenge because it's kind of like the solid color challenge, but I guess maybe a little bit more lenient because I will let myself use other colors sometimes. It's just that I want the main vibes to be yellow in this build. So we've got like yellow kitchen cabinets and like this fun yellow backsplash tile. The rugs were actually really difficult for me to pick because we have quite a few yellow rugs and like quite a few yellow patterned rugs and stuff, but it's really hard when you've got a room like this one that's all basically just one big room. It's really hard to use all those rugs because then you try and put them places and they don't really match or line up together. One's like a really vibrant lemony color, one's a bit more mustard, and they kind of look like they clash. Luckily, Dream Home Decorator has a lot of yellow in it, and most of those yellows match. So I use like the yellow sectional sofa, I use that yellow rug from that pack. You'll notice the rug in the dining room isn't actually a rug, it's actually a flooring that came with the Decor to the Max kit. I used those floors in the bathroom, but also as like a fake rug in the dining room because I really could not decide. All the rugs were like too small, too big, the wrong shade, but that flooring I could fit perfectly and it was like the exact right size for the table, so I ended up using that one. Also, the bedrooms in this house are kind of weird because obviously this challenge is like color themed, so each generation has a different color, so I'm living here with like lots of Sims right now. It's currently my heir, like the yellow Sim, but also their mother, who was the red Sim, and then eventually their kids, who are the gray Sims. So usually in the Not So Berry challenge, and again, it's not like there's a rule, it's just kind of how I play, I usually make a new house for each generation just for fun because I like to build, and I'll make that house like very much the color scheme of the heir of that generation. So the main Sim obviously is the yellow gen Sim, their whole house is very yellow, but then I'll have like the separate bedrooms for the other Sims be like their own thing. So mom from the red generation's got a red bedroom, and then I also decorated a kid's bedroom for this house even though the kid isn't actually born yet. As of recording this, I've just got like the grandparents, a cat, and also my yellow Sim living here. They don't have any kids yet, but they will, so I wanted to have a bedroom ready for it, but I don't actually need it just yet. I will say though, decorating a gray themed toddler bedroom is extremely difficult. Obviously most of the kids stuff in this game is like really colorful and bright. I think just in general a lot of this game's furniture is pretty colorful and bright, let alone like the kids and toddler stuff. There is nothing that fits into a gray themed toddler room. There's like a panda chair, I used that. There's a lot of like white things, there's some black things, but not a lot of just gray. It's really hard to figure out like a cutesy kids room that is just gray because I still want to have like some fun patterns and stuff, but I also want it to be the color scheme, and it was really tough to make it match. It's kind of funny to think about because I think generally gray is probably the easiest color scheme to build a house for. Like pretty much everything in the game has a gray swatch, or at least like white and black kind of fit into that too, so I feel like it's usually pretty easy to build like a main house that's gray. It's just the kids' rooms that are tough. Although maybe gray is one of those things that seems easy for a main house, but you could probably fall into a trap of it being kind of bland if you're not careful. I guess we'll find out because I'll build a gray house soon. We'll figure out how that goes. It's certainly not as fun as like a bright yellow house, right? I have really enjoyed doing the builds for Not So Berry recently because the first one that I did was like a sort of Victorian Victorian old house that was mint. Then we had that fake apartment that was red, and now we have this like yellow rocket ship mid-century thing. It's really fun to try and like branch out with build style and also do these weird color schemes. I've just really enjoyed building for Not So Very. I know it's probably a kind of unique build that like you maybe wouldn't use for your everyday gameplay. Like if you're not doing the Not So Very challenge, you probably wouldn't just have like a regular sim live here, unless you really like yellow, you might. But for these very specific purposes, this is really good. The other question that I got asked a lot when I was building this was like, why aren't you using a budget? Why don't you have money set for this? So I'm currently building from Manage Worlds. That's why we have that little infinity sign instead of like a money count down there on the bottom left. I had a couple reasons for this. Number one, I didn't want to build with my Sims here because this household is quite the ordeal to move. Like I've got 90 graves, I've got so many photos and like collectibles and stuff. And so I wanted to just build the house, get it ready, and then move them all in. I didn't want to try and have them here first. But also, as I had mentioned, this is technically Gen 13 of this family. Like I've been playing in this save for so long. We've got plenty of money. Like I honestly wish I had less money. So I wasn't worried about making a house that was too expensive. Like I knew they could be able to afford it because they had so much money. I'm currently playing a challenge where the goal is to max the career every single generation. And I've been playing in this save for so long that we've got loads of money. It's really not even a concern. I forget how much this house ends up costing at the very end, but I'll check when we do the tour. It's definitely not like ridiculously expensive. The house they had before was more expensive actually because it was that fake apartment building. It was huge. It was like 4 stories. Most of it was empty, but it was still just massive, so it was really expensive. I'll link that down below too if you want to watch the speed build of that house. I guess house is kind of a strong word. It was a full-on apartment building, not just a house. At this point in the actual build though, I'm furnishing that like red Jen's bedroom. So this is like grandma's room. It doesn't feel very grandma-y. It's very trendy in here, which is I think a good thing. She's a very trendy sim. She's also max level in the politician career, so she's technically president. As far as I'm concerned, she is like the leader of the entire world. But she's like the politician in the Sims world, and she hasn't retired yet, so none of them do they? In real life either. They just keep on going until they're ancient. The red room was actually really hard for me to furnish in this build because one, it seems so out of place from the rest of the house, obviously, but also I wanted to use a lot of the new high school years pack stuff, which maybe is weird to use the high school pack for my elderly politician's bedroom, but when I built this, the pack had like just come out, so I was really excited about it. And so I was like, I want to use the new beds, I want to use the new rugs, and I think it actually worked out really well. That bed with the black and white flower swatch is actually so nice. I think a lot of the swatches on the high school years beds are kind of a bit much for me. Like a lot of them are kind of busy and just kind of tough to use, but that one in particular I think fits in so well. I think it's so pretty. They didn't do a lot of like matchy things with the high school pack. There's a lot of like really random out there furniture that doesn't really match itself either. Like there's just a lot of different things that you can kind of mix and match with other stuff, which is a good thing in some ways. It's just different than how The Sims usually works because you compare it to like Dream Home Decorator where everything matches itself. Like everything matches each other in that pack. It all fits together. It's all the same color scheme. And then high school years is like the complete opposite. Totally random furniture items. A few things that go together here and there, like some matching, maybe like a dresser and nightstand sort of thing. But for the most part, a lot of it is just totally out there, which is again, I think kind of fun because then I can use that to tie into other stuff. It's kind of fun thinking about their inspiration behind those because I feel like Dream Home Decorator is kind of IKEA-esque where like, again, most of the stuff sort of matches. It's the same style. It's all kind of modular. And then you come into high school years where they've sort of gone in the opposite direction where they're kind of trying to give you options to look like your sim acquired their furniture over a long time. They've got like a hand-me-down bed frame and maybe they bought a new desk, but they've got an old dresser, like that kind of vibe, sort of like how real life works for the most part. I don't think any of us have like completely matching furniture sets everywhere in our entire homes. In fact, I think that kind of looks bad if like everything everywhere is all the exact same matchy. It's kind of nice to have some variation, right? She says as she uses a full matching set from Dream Home Decorator in this bedroom that I'm doing right now. Someone needs to take Dream Home Decorator away from me because I use that pack way too much. I use that pack for like everything in this build. It's the kitchen, it's the living room, it's the bedrooms. Like I use that pack for everything in this house. Again, in my defense, it's got a lot of good yellow swatches, which is what I needed for this pack. But I use that stuff in like everything always. I really like Dream Home Decorator. It's got so many good furniture items. At this point, if she was gone, I don't know what I would do. I don't know how I would function. I don't even use the gameplay. I kind of have forgotten the last time I used that pack's gameplay. Maybe I should do that again soon. I should probably like revisit the interior decorator career, huh? But I build so so much and I use the furniture so much that it's so useful for me. I won't lie, I haven't played with that pack, honestly, I think much since it came out, and it's been out for a while. It was kind of busted when it first came out. Like when you tried to do the multi-floor renovations, it didn't really work, and so I got frustrated and I stopped playing with it, and now it's been like 2 years. I'm actually gonna look that up. Okay, it was June 2021, so it's only been 1 year. It hasn't been 2, luckily. Well, with that rant over and all of that being said, we're kind of getting close to the end of the build here. I've shown you this like massive speed build. I did cut out a few things like the bathrooms and stuff because the video was very long. It took me like 5 hours to build this house, and so I simply could not show you all the footage. We would be here forever, and let's be real, nobody needs to hear me talk about nothing for that long. But I do want to give you like an actual tour of the house in game so it's easier to see the things you might have missed. This just spins around so much, it's kind of hard to look at and like actually gauge. So let's pop into the game real time now for that tour. Fair warning, there will be graves, a lot of graves. So we live down here in like the bottom right corner of Oasis Springs, where the house with the courtyard used to be in the base game. Of course, I've just bulldozed it to make room for my house with the courtyard and my rocket ship. And this here is the completed finished product. Now, if you get it off the gallery, it won't come with the graveyard, don't worry. We've got this little like private balcony sort of vibe off the main bedroom where it has a telescope. In the actual back of the house, we've got a huge outdoor space for entertaining. I don't think that the yellow gen sim would really want to entertain that much, but their mom does, and so we've got this like outdoor kitchen, there's a bar, there's a pool, we have a hot tub, and then on the inside of the house, you come into this little like entryway right here. I have added in some of my personal touches like this bag of money I stole and some family photos, just ignore those. But we have this like main living room right here. I've got this little egg bed for my cat named Mustard. We also have this little office space that is full of my collectibles. There's some aliens and stuff in here. Again, just ignore that. We have one bathroom with, it seems, some pee on the floor. I don't think that's from the toilet breaking. I'm pretty sure that's because my sim peed and didn't make it to the toilet in time. But that's there. Over here, we've got the dining room with that fake rug that I use floor tiles for, and we have that huge kitchen, which I am just obsessed with. This is the main bedroom. They've got like a little cat tree. They have their bed and like a super cute dresser and stuff. They also have an ensuite bathroom. And then when you kind of go back around the house into this hallway, we have over here the grandma's bedroom, the red themed room. They have an ensuite bathroom too. And then we have that gray toddler room that I was talking about. Now, I really struggled in here to fill it. So I closed off part of it and I put a litter box in there that the cat can get into. It's a laser one, so you don't have to clean it, which is nice. But this is that gray toddler room. I tried to incorporate some color in here with this rug, just so it wouldn't be as sad, but I think it turned out okay. And then of course we've got like our little courtyard with the rocket ship. And that is the entire house. It isn't huge by any means. As you can see, we've got a lot of money left over. We have like 40,000 simoleons. And in total, the house costs 150. Oh my. Okay, I did use really expensive appliances, I suppose. And like the TV and stuff. But 150, it's only one story. But it has a rocket ship, so that's all that matters, right? Is the rocket ship. Now this house is on the gallery if you want to download it. Just that version doesn't have like all of my things, like my graves, my family photos, all of that is not on the gallery, don't worry. If you like this video, I do a lot of speed builds like this. In fact, I make Sims videos literally every day, so feel free to subscribe. I'm also gonna link some of those things that I talked about in the video today down below if you want to check them out. Like that 10 generation video, the playlist for my current YouTube legacy challenge, and also that apartment speed build because that one's pretty fun. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Have the best rest of your day, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye everybody. Besties, the day that I'm posting this, I have another gynecologist appointment. I've had like 4 this month. I've got this weird cyst thing they're trying to figure out, and I don't want to go back, but I'm being brave, so wish me luck.